as Isaac Myers says here, this is the best show of the year. The three amigos together live here on the Blue and Gold YouTube channel. Mike Singer, Mike Goolsby, and Tim Hyde going through our preseason position grades. And later in the show, Mike Goolsby is going to give his prediction for the game. Goolsby, how you doing, my friend? You look good.
Best show of the year. And I've been looking forward to this since we did it a year ago.
It was fun.
It was fun. So we'll see what's changed, what's improved, et cetera, et cetera. Curious to get Tim's thoughts. I got an idea via this text chain, but it'll be good to hear it live.
Oh, my bet. I mean, seriously, all I keep thinking, I just want to go to the Coliseum 11-0. That's all I want. And I want to do a giant show before the SC game in the Coliseum. That's my goal this year for the best show. But no, this will be fun because we're flipping coins at some positions. I went over our grades last year trying to, where's Notre Dame improved? We obviously know where they're not the same as last year. So, and are they the same at wide receiver? I can't wait to get into that.
Well, folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video, of course, and subscribe to our channel for more content here at Blue and Gold. We have an offer for new subscriptions at 50% off. And as we record this, it is 8:03 p.m. Eastern time, which means you have 3 hours and 57 minutes left. Let me pull it up here for YouTube audience. So 50% off and use the promo code KICKOFF24. That comes out to $5 per month when you use that annual subscription. So we're calling this our deal of the year. So please check that out. blueandgold.com. Use the promo code KICKOFF24. All the recruiting coverage from media availability, analysis from Tyler Horka, Jack Sobel, and the guys. So definitely check that out. blueandgold.com. Kickoff 24. I guess let's just hop right into it if that's okay with you boys, unless there's any Florida State, Georgia Tech talk or anything else going on that we would want to discuss before we dive into it.
Oh, real quick on Georgia Tech, since the conversation's been about Notre Dame starts. Georgia Tech returned 4 out of their 5 offensive linemen, I read. So I guess returning a lot of offensive linemen that are in the system for the second straight year usually makes a difference. So that's the one thing I noticed when they held the ball up for 7 straight minutes and killed the clock and kicked a hell of a field goal. So I didn't watch much of the game till the end. So
yeah,
it was pretty.
I watched the whole game. I picked Georgia Tech to actually win. Took the money line and the under. But a couple thoughts on that game, and there's probably some corollary here between A&M. Florida State's got a kind of a vaunted defensive line. A lot of that talent's on the outside, and they kind of got punched in the mouth. I mean, they looked soft, for lack of a better word, on the defensive side of the ball. It's too early in the show for a tinfoil hat, but there's something, Singer, you're a soccer guy. There's something to when football is played on a soccer pitch, the grass is different. Like it was raining, and the jerseys were still clean. So I couldn't tell if Florida State was a little soft, but it looked like they were on skates almost. And I'm like, is that due to the scheme, the personnel, the mentality, or does the grass have something to do with it? It's just different. It's so slick. It's built for speed, not for cutting, best I can tell.
I like soccer. I also like cats, Goolsby. Is that okay?
That's good.
Hey, I was in South Bend a couple weeks ago, Goolsby, and I went into a store. I'm not going to shout out the store just to not give the free promo away, but I did get this nice shirt. It was in clearance. Well, and you want to know what it says on the back, Mike?
Huh. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a $2 shirt. Just I saw the 41, grabbed it at a clearance, Mike. I was like, they do not know. That should be you got to put that, on the out, on the window. You got to show off the 41. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So $2, so I get a nickel's worth of royalties or something off of that?
Your NIL. I don't know how much it actually was. I'm sure it wasn't $2, but yeah, I saw it and I had to snag it, Mike. I had to snag it. You
Well,
don't
I don't
see
know
too
if
many
you got a
41
Hartman shirt.
shirts.
I don't know if you got a Hartman shirt from home field last year, but I'll trade you.
I think I can make that happen.
All right, let's get it going.
All right, let's do it. So this show is really the I put in the title season predictions. We may or may not get to that, but really the bulk of the show is going to these positional grades because it really just ends up being a big discourse on the entire team. Super chat here from JB says Aviva was built to host rugby mostly, not soccer. JB, appreciate the clarification there in the super chat. Texas Chris says, Singers, where's your cord? Might have to do that here in a little bit. But let's go to the quarterbacks, guys. We're gonna go in order: Hyde, Goolsby, Singer for each of these. I won't talk as much as you guys will, but I do have grades for each of them. The criteria, boys. I mean, A+ has got it. I mean, that's like best in the country. And then you kind of go from there, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say this is what we did last year. We had A was a playoff NFL guys at that position. I mean, this is a playoff position group. A B, top 25 unit. We're gonna go to the top 25.
So, all right, sorry, Tim. So A was playoff / just like stud, like
playoff players, guys that are definitely top 10ish NFL guys. That's what that position is. B was top 25, so a good solid little unit. Getting yourself into the Sun Bowl, rocking that back-to-back trophy. C, I'm gonna kill this Sun Bowl thing forever. So anyway, C is average.
So I took this from Loose Emoji last year when Loose Emoji does his grades.
Hopefully we don't have any D's. D is bad. Bad football. 2016. No, really, that'd be 2007 bad. So there we go. So
all right. Well, Tim, you're up first on the quarterbacks. What do you think?
I mean, this is last year. I mean, A-. I did A-. I think, knock on wood, and I got a wood desk right here. Knock on wood here at the wife's office. Riley Leonard stays healthy because they're going to need him. They're going to need his legs. He's a hell of a competitor, all the things that we've heard about. So scary on the passing game. I don't think he's the greatest accurate dude. The more you watch him, really solid intermediate. He's not the passer Hartman was. Too bad Hartman didn't have any wide receivers, but he's not the passer of Sam Hartman. But overall type of a quarterback for this 2024 team, he's perfect for this.
Let me add real quick, Tim. I think it's more than just starters for this. I think we're kind of looking at the whole position group as well.
And
so.
C+. No, I'm joking.
Tim, you kill me.
You're the worst.
Yeah, you know what? This little, the little Notre Dame hype of this unit is so deep. It's never been this deep. How do we know that? How do we know CJ Carr could come in and take this team to 9 wins, or Kenny Minchie? This is a 10-2 team with Angeli. We have no clue. So that's a little over the top, in my humble opinion, when I've heard this talk over the months about how deep this unit is, because still a lot of unproven guys back there. And but overall, I'll go A-. Knock on wood. Like I said, Riley Leonard's playing this whole season and using his competitive spirit to get these Irish into the playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah. And all of these positions, they're intertwined. O-line, receiver, quarterback. I'm going with a B. To your point, Singer, about we're looking at the room as a whole, I'd be in that B+, A- territory if we had a different second string quarterback, because with the injury history of Riley Leonard, and you talk about a playoff atmosphere, some of these marquee games in the schedule, I'm not real confident in Steve to make plays to get us ahead. And then again, we feel better about our offensive line, fellas, because we have Riley Leonard, the escapability, the dynamic, athletic, just spontaneity that he brings to the game, for sure. But you have that same offensive lineman with a Steve Angeli back there. Not that he's a Jack Cohn, what have you, but it makes me a lot less confident in the offensive unit overall. So with Steve being a number 2 and not having a better athlete, again, more dynamic talent in a CJ and or Kenny Minchie, I'm sticking with the B.
Yeah. Let me just jump in there real quick, talking about Leonard and obviously his legs. going back to his full season where he had, at Duke, and, he ran for 700 yards on 124 carries. That's insane. So I went back in the Timmy Hyde research log here and went back and looked at quarterbacks of recent memory that have hit 100 carries. Sure enough, you got Denbrock during the 14, 15, 16 years with him and Kelly working the offense. You had Golson 114, Kaiser back-to-back years in 15, 16, 134 and 129 carries. And obviously Book hit it in his 2 main years of starting in 19 and 20. So I think he's going to run like crazy. Wimbush has the most, 141. If he gets that much, then this is a ground and pound, slam the ball, quarterback ISO counters, RPO flats like crazy. But I'm expecting Leonard definitely get over 100 carries this year. So,
and I'm looking for more of the spontaneous. Put that on my bingo card. I'm looking for more of that. I don't like the drawn up quarterback runs. And Tim, you could kind of go through that short list of quarterbacks there. How many of those guys got nicked up? Yeah, they're quarterbacks. They're not tailbacks, right? So you're giving them a tailback workload. Handful of those guys got nicked up.
Well, I mean, Kaiser was a tank. Golson got beat up a little bit at the end. Book was, solid as could be. Me personally, I love quarterback runs. Quarterback counters off motion where you run into trips and you got teams bouncing around is nuts to cover. Hey, Georgia Tech did a bunch of that the other day, and just like I said, I didn't watch a lot of the game. I saw a bunch of the highlights with that quarterback running. So he's a running quarterback, but QB runs. But Leonard's strength, without a doubt, he's going to be probably like Golson in 2014, where or Book. How many times did he and Book 3rd and 8 and he just run for 9 yards? I think Leonard's going to do that like crazy. It goes back to the wide receivers, right? The wide receivers.
Let's stay on task. We're talking quarterbacks. Jeez Louise.
Hey, yeah. Goolsby, you just said a minute ago that they're all intertwined.
They're all. But so then,
how much spontaneity is Riley Leonard going to get if Jaden Thomas and Bo Collins are getting beat up into the boundary and he can't throw a fade into the boundary because they have a spy, so he's got to run around. He's got a guy in his face all the time. So does Notre Dame during those years I just read off? Notre Dame had guys. Notre Dame had some wide receivers in those years where you had to defend them. Book would shuffle because you had to cover Chase Claypool, Miles Boykin, those guys. So even McKinley in 2020 made so many plays. But and Golson and Kaiser had Will Fuller. Who's that guy on this team to make DCs have? All
right, now you're getting off topic, Tim.
Oh no, I might be getting off topic, but that's going back to Riley Leonard. He is going to be spontaneity, as Goolsby says, but how much?
Yeah.
And then if he does squirt loose, who can come off of a route and catch a contested ball? I mean, that's the thing. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm going with A-. I like Leonard for this team, especially with this offensive line. And knock on wood, if he does go down, I would have to do research. But how many schools have a backup quarterback who's a junior and has played some football at this level? And has done a pretty good job. I think he should have been the MVP of the Sun Bowl, Tim's favorite bowl. And I like Minchie. I like Carr. It's a really good room. I'm going A-, but I could be talked into a B+, but I'm rolling A- here.
I don't know how confident the fan base is in Riley Leonard's ankle. Seems to be a non-issue, but it's been a thing for months and months. I'm just telling you, signing a Riley Leonard, paying him a bunch of cash with a lack of a physical, and then if you lose your next big game because of a Steve Angeli, there was no number 2 competition, Tim, this summer, this fall camp, as far as I could tell.
Why?
That could be a huge, wart on Marcus Freeman's resume to not shake up that room and to bring a kid in without a physical. The history there.
Yeah, you know what? I've actually heard that. Like, there wasn't a competition for number 2, but maybe there wasn't because no one was better than Steve Angeli. I mean, at the end of the day, these coaches are grading every single thing these guys do. So, and Minchie's been here now for 2 springs, 2 training camps, and he hasn't been able to pass him, so to speak. So that's how I look at it, is just a coach saying, maybe there wasn't. I mean, what do we know? We only heard so many things and whatnot, but Minchie hasn't made a dent in the time he's been here. And then Jelly just keeps staying number 2. That guy's just chilling, man. He's just, steady Eddie, just staying down the right path, being that number. I mean, it's going to be his 3rd straight season as the number 2. That's something that hasn't been talked about enough. So
2 games started. I'll say it. In terms of that quarterback room, I don't know if there's ever been like a succinct plan. It's always been, to me, just kick the can down the road and we'll see what happens next year.
The plan for 2025 is and Jelly or Carr Minchie. I could see a scenario where they bring in. I've talked about this.
But you're gonna have a sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Yeah,
I could see a scenario that if it ends up being Carr, then Angeli Minchie most likely leaves. So you got Carr, a 2025 quarterback recruit, and that would be it. So in that scenario, I think they could go to I've talked about this a bunch, about an FCS guy who just wants to play at Notre Dame, and that could be your backup, just to have another body in there with some experience if something were to happen. But that's I think it's going to be, in my opinion, I think it's Angeli or Carr next year. And if you made me guess right now, I would lean Carr.
No plan. Moving on.
Running backs, Tim, what do you got?
I went with the same grade as last year, A-. Damn good football team. Last year, probably solid 8. I probably almost went higher because Estime was obviously proven. These guys still talented as high heck, right? But they haven't been fed the rock all game long. We knew Estime could take that thing 20 carries if he could. Not saying these guys can't whatsoever, but last year we knew we had 3. Do we know there's a 3rd? It's going to be a freshman, right? Aeneas Williams. Last year's number 3 was Price and Love, going off of 2 and 3. And then you had, we always forget about Payne, for crying out loud. So you had 4 solid ones last year, but I'll say A-, just speed. There's going to be some way more speed getting that ball more often this year than Estime. So that's definitely going to be an upgrade for the Irish this year.
Okay. Goolsby?
I'm going to be plus. I think it all depends on how much run they give a Jeremiah Love. I'm not as big of a fan of J.D. Price as others. I like everything about Aeneas Williams. He just never really – he doesn't look fast. Like he just, and he looks, he's listed at 2. Jeremiah Love is our biggest running back, if you believe the roster weights. He's like 206. Yeah. So Aeneas looks a lot fuller than the 200 pounds, and he runs heavier than 200 pounds. If Jabron Payne was still in the room, because he had a fantastic spring, looked damn near dominant in the spring game, I would be up in the A territory. But yeah, like Tim said, a little bit of inexperience, but I think Jeremiah Love could just be a household name star. I really do. So I just hope they feed the guy. I really do.
And I'll even say, I know I've been talking a lot about Price. He went 120 yards in the bowl game because they gave him the rock so much. So it's a good group. I think we're going to see a lot more explosive runs this year. Obviously, number one, because Jeremiah is going to get the ball more than he did last year. That's going to be key. But Price may be that workhorse down the road as they give screens, bubbles, all those good types of things to Jeremiah.
Tim, you're a Price guy. You threw
He's physical. The dude's he is physical.
You thought he might leave after this year. Didn't you? I heard you say that at some point.
Yeah. That was one of my March, April fun predictions when 6 people were watching the show because middle of nowhere. But I love Price. He is physical. I think he could have a big year. Damn good running back, man.
Okay, I'm going B+ as well. I'm with Goolsby.
Man, I'm the Kool-Aid guy tonight. Look at this.
I love the guys at the top. I love Jabron Payne. That's a tough one. Devin Ford, a nice guy to have here and there. And then Keedron Young, pretty fascinated with Keedron. So yeah, it's still a pretty good room. So B+ for Singer. And then the one that is always very interesting to discuss is the wide receivers.
Oh, this is easy.
What is it then, Tim?
C+.
Is that what I talked you into last year?
No, last year you talked Goolsby into the B-, and I was like, I go B- so I don't get the hate mail like he did. So as they were coming after him like crazy. I say C+ just because still don't know. Still don't know. They had to bring in 3 transfers. I know Goolsby believes this. At least I think he does. If you're playing a 5th, 6th year and you're a wide receiver, there's a reason for that. So those guys, there's a billion of them in the NFL. You could go play at that level. If they have to move Faison to the outside, which it sounds like they're doing with him and Mitchell after playing basically just force-fed slot last year, and he didn't do anything this spring. Let's don't forget he's going out and winning a national championship. And when he did practice in the spring, it was always at the slot. All of a sudden, he comes into the summer and he's outside, which is good. I love the kid. He's an outstanding athlete. So he's got a little of that Golden Tate-ish to him out there. Get the ball, let him run around. Greathouse. I'm a huge Greathouse fan just because I think he's an inside guy. I think he could absolutely dominate inside that 0 to 10 range. Just the way his body's built. It's always boundary to me. That's just me. I've never been a Thomas guy. Thomas is, we always talk, he's a big body. Yeah, to me, that's a small tight end. So I don't know if you want a small tight end out there unless it's Michael Mayer, correct? So Thomas, and I'm not as high as Collins as you guys are. I've watched his film. He's an underneath guy. So we'll see what he does.
Goolsby?
Would you do C+, Tim?
Yeah, because I stuck to last year's grade.
I'll go with the C+.
Which one?
I'm going C. To hell with it. I'm going C. Because I just look at it, and there's 4 guys in that room that I think are like marginally special. Obviously, everybody loves Greathouse, but he's a slot. How dominant can you be from a slot? Sure. It's just not what you think of when you think of a wide receiver. I was optimistic about a Chris Mitchell. Very cautiously optimistic, but again, if he's getting beat out by a walk-on lacrosse player, former slot receiver, it's like this isn't. If you look at, and I respect everything he did at FIU, but like we don't play Maine, right? Maine isn't on our schedule, and I know he had a great game against Arkansas, whatever is the case, but so I feel less confident about the group if, in fact, Faison did beat him out for the field job. I still think KK Smith's going to have a role at some point this year. Denbrock sprinkled in a little bit, and I've always been a fan of his just because of Tim's sheer speed. Just get up and go. And yeah, I like the way Collins moves. I like the way he looks. The production, to your point, Tim, isn't necessarily there. But outside of like a Collins, a Faison, a Greathouse, and a KK Smith, what do we say? C is average. To me, they're average. And I'm talking about a championship lens here, like big time football playoff game. So that's where I'm at.
The eternal optimist, Goolsby.
A?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm going B-. Okay. I love Bo Collins. I think he's going to have a big year. He is not as injury prone as Tim tried to make me believe in last week's show, because right after we were done recording, we went, he played in, I think, at least 10 games every season at Clemson.
Never played a full season.
Okay.
But anyway.
I'm a big. I've been told Bo's looked incredible, in practice, and is really, really proven himself to be a potential leading receiver on this team. I think Chris Mitchell is going to have some breakout games where he's going to have like 4 receptions for 120 yards, and I think sometimes he's going to be, MIA. Like where's Chris Mitchell today? I think it's going to be boom or bust kind of games for Chris Mitchell, which I'm actually okay with. We need, Notre Dame needs some big plays down the field. I think Jaden Harrison is going to be a quality over quantity guy as well. He's an interesting one at the slot. Jaden Thomas, steady old JT. I think Greathouse is going to have a huge year. Collins is going to have, again, a potential number 1 overall receiver year for Notre Dame. Faison is obviously a really good piece. And I'm with Goolsby, I think KK Smith is going to break into that receiver rotation by the end of the season, and he's got some special to him. So
I could see a scenario, and I almost might predict this. These are one of these things that I see, and I swear, Singer, I'm right more than I'm wrong. See, EX example, Deion Colsey. I have no expectations of Jaden Harrison, like zero. And I've seen enough clips during fall camp, and I love the way he moves. I love the way he's built. Tyreek Hill is a poor man's Tyreek Hill. He just doesn't seem to catch the ball like naturally to me. And if he's your second string slot behind a great house, and if you can get KK Smith caught up, it's like you've got KK and Chris Mitchell working to the field, and then Faison can kind of rotate in. Faison's a guy, Tim, I think you could do anything with him just because of like that, that level of compete that he has, right?
He's an athlete, exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm buying Faison to the field just yet, but it's like who else are you going to rotate in with Mitchell? And in a practice scenario, I could see how Jaden Harrison would be serviceable as a slot, but I don't see him playing a lot. I think you'll get back to Faison being a move guy, and then KK's got to work into that rotation on the outside. Is what I see.
I think that's a good take. I think that's a good take, and I think Harrison can be fine. I'm
glad we got him.
Yeah,
having Harrison on our team, it factors into my score prediction for this game. So I'm
okay.
We're blessed to have the kid on the team.
He's a big play
receiver. Yeah,
big play guy.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, both of you mentioned KK Smith, and it's like he's like number 9 right now, so he's going to jump up 3-4 guys.
7.
So he's 7.
I think he's 7.
So he's ahead of. So Michael Gilbert's is now fallen off the wayside, so he's not even in the group anymore. Colsey, we know, is way down. Cam, which is funny because you got Cam Williams is going to play in the Army-Navy game, and that's probably it, which is too bad. So, no, it'll be interesting if KK Smith gets in there because obviously they're just mapping out the top 6. It is hard to play 7-8 receivers in a football game.
Yeah. So
things going fast or a 50-50 type of offense. You're going to run the ball 30 times, pass it 30 times, mix and match here, a couple there. So it's hard to get all these guys in, really curious to see how this thing all works itself out. But I like Faison to the field because he's fast as hell. Denbrock, when he was with Kelly, as he was the last couple of years at LSU, they love quick screens. They get the ball out quick. As I've said for 9 months, all anyone has to do is just go back and watch those 14, 15, 16 offensive films, and you'll see the type of offense that they ran. So Faison's perfect for that with the type of motions they do, and dump him and let that little guy do his little jitterbug and go. So really excited to see him.
I think last thought, Singer, maybe on receivers, I think too much is made of, these coaches at the press conference, they don't say much, right? That's their job to go up there and talk, but not say anything. It's a politician. It's like, I was going to take a shot at Tim, but
I was thinking
on wide receivers playing 7, 8 wide receivers. That's a lot.
So when Mike Brown, like early in Mike Brown's time, he said something to the effect of like he likes to play 6, and I think we all really just like latched onto that. And I've heard Freeman throw around 7, and it's like, yeah, to your point, KK Smith's got to work himself up, but 2 weeks ago we thought Tosh Baker was our starting tackle, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot can change. A lot can change.
Sure.
Yeah. A couple super chats. Alex, $2 says B average on offense plus Denbrock plus A average on defense plus luck equals title. Alex, love the optimism. Michael Ryan with the $5 super chats is very appreciative of you, Mr. Goolsby, and your recent tweets. And he says he loves the show. Go Irish. Michael.
I heard about that. I think my Twitter got hacked. I got to get a hold of Elon. I heard about that.
Something like that. Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, of course, for more content. Head over to blueandgold.com. Check out our Kickoff 24 special for new subscribers. And if you're listening via podcast, hope you are enjoying the show. Please leave us a kind review if you like our podcasts. Moving on to tight ends. Tim, what's on your mind?
It's like, what do you go here? It's like, do you go with
Puppy, yeah.
top 3? Is Evans playing? Who's an NFL player? Is Raritan going to show up? How long's Raritan? What is this? Is this junior year? This is year 3 for him, right? God, I feel like we've been talking about him for 8 years. Flanagan's, my guy out of De La Salle. So, yeah, it's Notre Dame tight end. Are they really going to be bad? A-. I mean, I'm expecting Evans healthy, get his reps. Flanagan, I absolutely love. Singer's been talking about him since before training camp as the hidden gem in that class from his sources. And then Raritan, I absolutely love Raritan. I loved him in my favorite Sun Bowl when they flexed him out, tried to hit him on slants. We ever going to see that giant, 9-foot arms in the end zone catch a fade? That's what we need to do. So I'll go A-.
I'll go A. Based off our criteria, the 3 guys you just mentioned, Tim, are all NFL players.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I've talking to Eli's dad at the spring thing, and I'm like, buddy, to your point, Tim, it's like the clock's ticking, brother. I know you've had some injuries. And, Cooper Flanagan, a lot of great reports about him coming out of fall camp. And it's not as if he's like leapfrogging Eli. But the thing we all say about Eli, Tim, is like, golly, he looks good. Like, he looks the part. Not to say it's like, looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane or anything, but it is time to put it together. It's absolutely time together. And then I'll give it a slight bump with the A, Tim. When I think about Mikey mismatch, Coach Denbrock, a lot of tools there between, to your point, a 6'7" tight end and Eli, and then the intermediate stuff that a Mitch Evans can do. Always been a fan of Mitch. So depending on the personnel groupings we see, I think that could be really fun, frankly.
Tim, anything else?
Well, I got a lot off of that. It's like it goes back to just, I'll take 90 seconds. How's that? But, we talk about all these wide receivers. All we've heard about is 11 personnel, yet we've just talked about 3 NFL tight ends. I don't know if that wide receiver room has 3 NFL football players. So Denbrock used a lot of 12, and he was at Cincinnati. Kelly and Denbrock were huge 11 guys for ages until everything changed at Notre Dame and his Kelly 2.0 days with great tight ends. How I've talked about this. How do you not have Raritan and Evans on the field together? They're just Evans is literally a pass catcher like Michael Mayer, and Raritan is just 7 feet tall, throwing the damn football. So you got NFL tight ends. I don't know if you have NFL wide receivers. So we'll see how that plays out.
You know what it is? You know what it is, Tim? It's like last year's offense, just the clump offense, we'll call it. It's just a clump offense, like 12, 13. So when people hear 12, that's what they jump to in their mind, just that clogged up, clumpy. But to your point, it's like, I played the linebacker position. I don't want to try to run with or cover at Eli Raritan. And your average safety is what, 5'10", 5'11"? How are they going to jump with him or even run with him for that matter? So I like where your head's at. I just think of Eli, Mitch, and Jeremiah, whether it's 20, and I hate to get into scheme because it's all pure speculation, but like moving a Jeremiah out on a route where creates a mismatch, you could do the same thing with either Mitch or because Eli can block too. I mean, he blocked his ass off as a true freshman, if you remember.
Yes.
I have A-. Love Mitch Evans, easily top, or first, second, third round pick. Flanagan, huge fan of Cooper Flanagan. And I've heard really good things about Jack Larson. If Notre Dame needs him in 12 personnel this year, Jack Larson might be a surprise guy to burn a red shirt. The Eli Raritan thing, I need to see it. I need to see it before I buy into it. I need a little bit more.
No, you're right.
And then, Bauman, another like just blocking guy. And then Sherwood is a nice player. But yeah, to me, the conversation is it's Evans, Raritan, Flanagan, a little bit of Larson. It's just my opinion on it. And it's like it's one of the if Raritan's potential hits, it's an A+. It's it's one of the best in the country, if not the best. but I'm going A- just because I'm the variable of Eli Raridan.
This year, I mean, you say if Larson was just like Larson looked like he's 6'2" when he plays, so it's hard to. I know he's listed at 6'4". That is the shortest 6'4" I've ever.
Yeah, he's a solid.
6'2".
Yeah, he's a little bit taller than me, and I'm like 6'2" 3/4". He's a little bit taller than me, but yeah, he's not a. If he were 6'4", 6'5", he would be the Evans and the Mayers, but he's like an H-back kind of role, good receiving tight end, can help out on blocking weak side and stuff. Like he might surprise you guys, but we'll see.
Oh, his high school film, he knocked the hell out of you, and great hands. A lot of one-handed catches in his film. So
yeah,
I like that because I predicted 8 freshmen will get a letter this year. So I like how Larson just keep creeping up my freshmen getting Letterman jackets this year. So monogram. So I like that. That was one of my predictions.
Okay, moving along. We're going to hear from our sponsors over at Home Field Apparel, folks. So college football is back. We had FSU Georgia Tech last weekend, and in just a few days, you got Notre Dame at Texas A&M. You're going to want to be geared up for year 3 under Marcus Freeman, which is where we bring in today's sponsor, which is, of course, Home Field Apparel, which is launching their Can't Miss Kickoff 24 campaign, a month-long campaign delivering all the gear that you need for this season. You're not going to want to miss the football box. Home Field gears you up for the entire 2024 college football season. The Home Field way, you got 3 never-before-seen Notre Dame items you're not going to find on their site or app. It's only in the Notre Dame football box. To honor the Fighting Irish, Home Field went with classic retro tributes, including a celebration of their 1977 national championship. This box is also carefully curated to ensure you've got something new all season long for whatever football weather you encounter. Home Field sponsored us for last season. I pushed we have to have Home Field back. Such a cool sponsor for us and really unique gear. I mean, there's so many different options out there for Notre Dame apparel or any other college apparel, but Home Field with the retro looking gear that doesn't smell old, that gets an A+ in my book. So wide range of available colleges, so you can grab some Notre Dame gear for yourself or comfortable licensed clothing for 180 and more colleges that they have for your loved one who sadly might be a fan of another team. Great time to shop at Home Field, folks. Make sure you check it out, homefieldapparel.com. Use the promo code BGI, which is good for 15% off your first order at Home Field. All right, boys. Thank you to our sponsors at Home Field. Let's go to the offensive line. This one should be interesting. Tim, I will go to you.
You know what, Mike? I am going to be – this is my Mike Singer pick here, the optimist, the man, the believer. I am going to go B-. I am going to probably everyone's thinking C+, C, 6 starts. I know I've gotten into this a ton. It's the lowest at 2003 where Mike Goolsby's redshirt year. They had 3 starts. 3 rookies that year had to make starts. It was bad up front. But are they those the guys this year's guys? 2 rookies at tackle. Notre Dame hasn't started 2 rookies at offensive tackle since 2010. Before that, 1999, Mike, with one of those guys, John Teasdale, I know you played with. So going way back then. I'm going B-. The reason, Rocco Spindler and Pat Coogan. Let me just take a minute on these guys, all right? These are going off of PFF grades from last year. I know they got the starts, 13 for the Cougs, 10 for Rocco. Pat Coogan, 70. If you get over 70 on PFF, that is damn good football. That is winning football if you're over 70. Coogan had 1 game, against NC State. He had 3 games in the 50s, which is me blocking, okay? Wake, Duke, and Clemson, 2 of those teams just were nasty on the inside. His grade for the year was 66, which is just middle of the road. The Rocco had a grade in the 40s against USC. Is USC top-notch defense? No, I think we could all say that. 3 games in the 50s. So 4 out of his 10 starts were basically bad blocking. You go to Billy Schrauff and Ashton Craig, ass kicking in their multiple starts. Pendleton, I've been studying like crazy the last 2 weeks, the history of redshirt frosh that have started, and there's some damn good ones. I rewatched his high school film. The dude's a bully. The guy's an ass. Let's just say he is. He's a bully. And then last, Emil Wagner is a 5-star on three. On three is the only one that gave Anthony Knapp a top 100 rating. And did you know, gentlemen, the 2 mics here, Anthony Knapp was the lineman of the year in the highest division for Georgia football last year. Which I had no idea. I was rereading some stuff on him, which was in the Blue and Gold recruiting yearbook done by Mike Singer. 3 years in a row, he was all region. So you got a guy in the highest division in one of the toughest regions in the United States of America, and he's an all-region offensive lineman, sophomore, junior, senior. So I'm going to go athleticism. I'm going to go after it. I think they're going to be a nasty group. Knapp's an ass. Pendleton's an ass. Billy Schrauff is definitely one. He's my pick to be an All-American, the next in-line All-American on that unit. Emil Wagner, the dude could do a 360 dunk if he wanted to. He's a freak and a half. It's year 3, time for him. Pendleton, the 1 bar, just go kick butt and let's get after it. So I'm going to go B-. My speech, I'll go on mute. Go for it, guys.
I think Knapp's got a full cage too, Tim. So that left side of that line's that throwback appeal. What'd you say, B-? You said B-, Tim?
Yeah.
B-. Man, hey, when you have 6 starts, man, you can't be like rose petals and cupcakes.
No, especially with all that.
But if they could bring, because a lot of people, when I talked about the 6 stats, well, Tim never talked about 88. Exactly. 1988, they only had Tim Grunauer, who had 4 starts. That's it. Every single one of those dudes were rookies. Tim Ryan, who was a 3-year starter at guard, played middle line, was a Mike Backer as a freshman, moved him to left guard his sophomore year, and he goes on and starts for 3 years. So different era, I know, 88 to 24, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully year 3, the same type of thing happens for Holtz as it does hopefully for Freeman.
I'm going to go B, because you got to keep in mind, it is O-line U, and we're talking about a body of work. So like when I'm grading this, I'm kind of looking at the whole season, right? It's kind of why I factored that into like my quarterback grade. I think the timing of the Knapp thing and the fact that he's a true freshman is really jarring to all of us. It was like, oh no, like we're screwed just because of the timing and because he's a young kid. But to Tim's point, good player. I really liked him coming out of high school. And yeah, Tim, you're stealing a boatload of my thunder. But yeah, Singer, you know this. I never liked Rocco. Never liked him.
Never.
Yeah, I was never as high on Rocco as everybody is. And again, we talked about he looks the part. Could be an extra in a mafia movie. He looks like a badass. Doesn't really play that way. Bad feet. You see, getting ready for Patreon, doing this all 22 film. USC, Tim, you brought that up. Who's at number 90 for USC? That Alabama transfer, Bear Alexander. Whooping ass, dude. Whooping our ass, just physically dominant. And it's like, you love Zeke Correll, can't hang. He's 280. So when I just look at that group as a whole, they're going to continue to gel, continue to get better. I never liked Coogan. He was just kind of a guy. You root for him. He's Chicago Catholic League kid. Love all that. They were just in big games, I would see Rocco get beat in a phone booth. Just get beat in a phone booth. Can't move his feet. And there's enough times I saw Rocco get sat on his ass, just get dump trucked. And it's like, ugh, that's Notre Dame offensive line. I love a Pendleton. Was around him, Tim. No neck. He looks like a Ninja Turtle playing O-line. I mean, you think back to the movies. I mean, he is built kind of like Q Nelson with just that big shoulder trap thing. And then I was driving around today working, and I'm going back to like last year's scheme, duo. Yeah, we're double teaming a down guy. We're rolling off to a linebacker, Tim, and it's like you need a little bit of explosive, just force power on a double, and then you need a little bit of that athleticism to climb. So I think it's going to work out. You just have to like look at it big picture and not worry so much about the game one thing. But I do want to give, and I looked this up, Tim. I was looking up like military medals because I wanted to be respectful. Give Anthony Knapp the Medal of Honor for bravery for this game because he is a true freshman in college going up against the first-round draft pick in this defensive end they got. But I think the summation of the product, what the group will look like at year's end, and it based off of our criteria, you know, there's NFL guys in there.
12 seconds before Singer jumps in. 12 seconds. Anthony Knapp is only going to be the third freshman game one starter. The previous two 5-stars from rivals, and Sam Young, Blake Fisher, and then Knapp top 100 with on 3. Lastly, just a little side note, Denbrock, his first year at LSU. In 2022, they started 2 freshman offensive tackles. So there you go. This year, they're probably going to win the Joe Moore Award. Their offensive line's awesome. So he's got experience. He knows how to scheme around a couple rookies on the offensive tackles.
You guys are just talking me into a higher grade. But Tex ND said, I thought Tim would have had a lower grade than receiver because that's what we talked about. I think it was last week at the end of the show. I was like, which unit do you feel better about, receiver or O-line? You're like, for the first time, you feel a little bit more confident about the receivers. So you're after Tim Hyde spent, you know, what, Tim, you spent like 8 straight days in a 3-day span researching. You're back on the O-line over the receivers.
Mike, it's the blue and gold yearbooks. I have every single one. I kid you not. My basement's got yearbooks stacked. I've been breaking down. I've been getting excited, actually, like diving into this. And Tyler Horka posted that on Twitter today. This is going to, what is it? The first time. And Horka's went back 42 years. 42 years. It's the first time that Notre Dame does not have a senior. And I went back all the way to Holtz years. There's always at least one senior, even in Holtz's first year in '86, one senior who was an All-American played guard. The rest of them were all newbies. So you're going 42 years, at least one senior on a football team. So I found that a fascinating stat.
Yeah. Tim, I'm sorry, because we've been around each other, Tim, for years now. O-line in particular, dude, you kind of like lean towards experience, right? And I've always said that's the coach in you. So are you torn this year? Like you like the upside, or is it your hands being forced of like, I got to play these young kids?
Man, you get pulled on both sides. Actually, you like the experience. I like Senior always laughs when I say this, but I like giant men blocking. Okay. Senior always laughs when I say that, but I do. I like big dudes that can block. I like guys that look like they could play at Alabama. Monsters and just push the living hell out of you. It's all about over the course of 60 minutes, wearing you down over time. And then you just win the game like that. But then at the same time as the coach, these guys got to be kicking butt. I mean, I've been in that situation when you're like, you just got to play little Billy. He's just everywhere. Find somewhere else for so-and-so to play. You got to get that guy on the field. And it just seems like the more you hear about Pendleton in the reports, I've talked to Sobel and Horka a lot about this. It's like Pendleton is trust. It's funny because Freeman talked a hell of a lot about that. You know, that's been his like thing is trust. I busted out a blue and gold yearbook. I was cleaning up the illustrated, from March when Lauren Landau got hired. Nice article on him, and one of his buzzwords was trust. So it just feels like they trust these guys, and I think it's, you know, people always talk about Joe Rudolph, but it's also Mike Denbrock. He's the damn offensive coordinator. I mean, he's watching film. The OC, and he coaches tight ends. So the tight end and the offensive line coach are working side by side every damn day. Denbrock's not doing 7-on-7. That's Gino and all those guys. So he's working with these guys each and every day. And I just think him and Joe, both those guys have been around the block a lot. And they're like, man, these guys just get after it. Going back to your point, Goolsby, about the potential, the upside. Let's just throw their ass in the ringer and let's just go after it. And we'll scheme around them and help them out when need be.
Yeah, I think the scheme will be interesting because you've got more athletic dudes now. You just do. So you can do more things schematically, like misdirection, move in the pocket. It's interesting when you talk about trust. I tend to think of like, okay, trust in terms of executing your assignment. knowing the playbook, for lack of a better phrase. But it's like this might be a different instance of trust where you've been watching Rocco Spindler. Like you go back and watch those clips and you're like, yo, he can't block NFL types in a phone booth. He can't stay with them. You watch him get beat up by Riley Mills and a Howard Cross enough time. You're like, okay, well, maybe I trust him assignment wise, but I don't trust his ability, which is a crazy thing to think about. And then the only other, because we haven't got the defense yet. Holy smokes. The only other thought I have is
crap.
We'll get there, Mike.
The only other thought I had was people had crowned Charles Jagasaw as like, he wasn't going to be an All-American. Like, I still think he's going to end up as a guard. And it's like, I would have been concerned about Jags playing left tackle the same way that I am concerned about Anthony Knapp. I mean, he wasn't like a world beater left tackle. Potential-ish, sure. But you didn't lose Joe Alt, folks.
No, but Jagasaw's he's a massive dude who's got
he's huge.
Really
good-looking guard. Good-looking guard. Great-looking guard.
He's mad. He could be a 6'7" guard and all that stuff, but he is just he's a stud. I mean, you basically lost. I mean, he was their best offensive lineman, probably going to be in this year. So you lose him. It's a kicker. Real last thing, Singer, before we go on. Goolsby does training for a living. How about this, Mike Goolsby?
Not for a living. I do it on the side.
Yeah, on the side. But yeah. Is no one ever talking? People in the chat. Oh, Knapp's up to 300 pounds. Anthony Knapp played about 260-ish last year. He's going into College Station after gaining 30+ pounds. Let's just say, how is he going to handle that in College Station over the? You know what I mean? Over the course of a year, he's never played at this. It's a brand new body. He's never had to move at this body against Nick Scorton, who's 6'4", 285, and going to go in the top first round. So that's just something to think about when you're looking at conditioning and whatnot. Not saying he can't do it. Don't get me wrong. He's been kicking ass. Obviously, he's doing it against Notre Dame D linemen. Just a little side bit when you watch Saturday night.
I love it. I think he was like 275 as a senior, but still the point stands, Tim. And I'll say this, as somebody that's been around some athletes, like when you put on that, it's a conditioning thing for sure, Tim, but when you put on that weight quickly, the kid's a true freshman, right? So it's like he's trying to put on the freshman 15 and maintain the freshman 15. Not an easy thing to do your first year of college, but then like that big weight gain, Tim, that's where you see a lot of strains and pulls because your muscles get bigger, your body gets bigger, but your tendons and such and all that like ligature, how's that for a word, Singer? Like the ligature doesn't catch up. So, you got to play within the framework of your body. Let's move on.
275, according to On3, is a senior, 294 right now. I'm going with a C+ for what it's worth. Pendleton, I'm told a big thing for him is just so strong.
Mm-hmm.
And then Goolsby, your point about the trust thing, you really talked about on the interior. For me, I'm really looking about on the outside. Tosh Baker would make so much sense to start. I just think, I don't know. There could be a whole discussion about does Knapp starting over Baker say more about Knapp or does it say more about Baker? To me, it has to say more about Tosh Baker. But
agreed.
And I love Knapp, but would we all sit here and think that he's going to be this team starting left tackle for the next 3 years? No, I think he ends up sliding inside. And yeah, so I'm going C+. Partly because of Tex ND's comment earlier, I'm going receivers B-. So and I did say last week that I feel better about the receivers than O-line right now, but in my heart I feel B-. D-line boys, Tim Hyde. Okay, and real quick, usually at this point my brain is like, all right, it's time to wrap this thing up. We are at 54 minutes. We're like halfway through, so just something to keep in mind as we go through this, guys. Tim, on the defensive line, what do you think?
This is the strength of the football team, in my opinion. I'm giving them an A. Yeah, a lot of NFL dudes are going to be playing. I think they're the best unit on the football field. Obviously, barring injury, and they're not playing third stringers and all that stuff. But if you're going there too deep going into this game and into this season, this is a hell of a defensive line. So I wish them well. And just go. They got. I mean, they especially game one, man. They got to be the best unit on that football field. They got to wreak havoc because A&M's got maybe more issues on their O line than the Irish do. So just wreak havoc. But I think they're going to do that all year. You got a fifth-year end out of Duke, a fifth-year D tackle who is going into his fifth year playing, mind you, in Riley Mills. He hasn't redshirted ever. Cross, a 6-year guy. You got grown men. Jordan Botelho's been here forever, a fifth year. Old dudes. Then you got a couple true juniors, Tuli Alamaka, Burnham, young guys, Young and Traore, who are just freakazoids, SEC-looking DN-type guys on the edges. I'm going A, and let's go kick some ass with those guys this year.
Ghouls?
I'm going B+. Little top-heavy for me D-line-wise. No different than we were talking about quarterbacks correlating to the wide receivers. There's a tie between linebacker play and D-line play. I don't know where fans jump to if they just think about rushing the passer. Riley Mills, like, calling you out. Put it together. Like, he could beat him. Like, I looked at the team photo. You know, those are so fun. The team photo in the stadium there. He looks like a lighter-skinned Ndamukong Suh, just the way he's built with those big muscle bellies, and just like you think about how, and like the strength numbers are comparable. I mean, he's a monster. Put it together. Love to see that he's down a little bit in terms of weight. I've been asking for that for over a year. We love Howard Cross. Yeah, find him in there. Number 99. Look at how thick that son of a gun is, man. Look at his ass.
Where's he at?
He's twice the size of Jack Kaiser. Look at him.
He's at the bottom, first row.
He looks like a cartoon character.
Yeah, Kaiser looked like he weighs 188 pounds.
So, but Riley, you got to bring people down. It's not good enough to just live in the backfield. You got to make the play. You love Howard Cross. You know, Jordan Botelho is a kid that I root hard for. His backup, Boubacar Traore, is an NFL, probably first, second round pick. I've always said he reminds me of Leonard Floyd from Florida way back when the 9th pick overall went to the Bears, I believe. And then there's a ton of depth that you feel good about. But, Tim, you know this. I mean, if you jump out of a gap or you run a little bit too much upfield, you get creased for these big chunk run plays, which we've seen in the last couple of years. That was like the one defensive weakness, or like glaring room for improvement was like those chunk plays in the run game. And then with the younger linebacker room, it makes me a little bit wary. RJ Oben, I think, has got a ton of room for improvement. Like, and I specifically watching like his movement and like his get off. His first step could get better. I'm excited to see what kind of work Al Washington's poured into him. And like Bryce Young, he's a 3-year player, Tim. I mean, Bryce, you look down. I got the roster in front of me. True freshman, 6'7", 260. Give me a effing break.
Yeah.
So it's like Bryce Young's going to play this year. I'm going B+.
Are you sure you're going B+, Mike? It sounds like you're talking yourself into an A.
I just worry about the depth, and like as much as we want to rotate, I just worry. That's the old Mike linebacker in me, Tim. I just worry about those run fits, brother. But I'm super optimistic.
Well, you talk run fits. You're playing 5-6 DBs all the time, and that's put so much pressure on those guys, almost a 2-gap at Mike and Will all the time. So, yeah, sometimes they may have to run around a block because you only got so many gaps covered up with those. And as Golden says, rush D, who gives a damn? Well, it matters when the guy in Louisville is ripping off 50-yard runs. It matters pretty good. So, but yeah, I'm with you on Mills, man. Just pick dudes up, throw them, and just kick ass, man. It's everyone's waiting for it. Damn it! Just go back to that picture singer. It's like he looks like 2 J.J. Watts. It's right there. It's like just turn it on and let's go. So, but real quick on depth. It's going to be an old D-line. I don't think we're going to see the Devin Houstons and the Sevianos, those guys, until scrum bum time, and I'm cool with that. Let's just play that 2 deep is going to get the majority of the reps this year.
Give me an A on this D-line. I'm with Tim. I love RJ Oben. We just lost Tim there. Tim, you might need to. RJ Oben, give me Boubacar. I think it's going to have a breakout season.
Yeah, you've been saying it. You've been calling for Boubacar.
Dude, Boubacar's going to have a huge year. Burnham, Tui Halamaka, nice pieces. Botelho's the same to me. Bryce Young, don't know how much we'll see him this year, but yeah, I'm with you. 3 and out. Cross Mills, couple studs. Jason Anye.
Burnham's another kid. I don't know about Anye's, dude. Tim and I know this. You can't play, dude. You can't play inside with a six-pack. You can't play inside with a six-pack.
Goolsby and I have been talking about this forever. Can you be a run stopper with a six-pack? Georgia doesn't have any, but we'll see. I hope he turns it on and kicks ass in year 4 for him. But Goolsby, the six-pack.
But I played with a guy like that, Darryl Campbell. Of course, you remember Tim. I mean, 6'5", 290. He could scratch his knees standing up. But yeah, I mean, he had a six-pack, and I mean, he was like an awesome practice player. That's like you hear great things. Anya's chirping at practice, but to be that narrow, long and narrow and play inside, it just sometimes it doesn't compute. Burnham's another kid I'm rooting for. He's been through a lot. Played quarterback, linebacker in high school. He's playing Viper now. They got us playing. I think he's going to be a good player for us. I just never quite seen a lot of twitch from him, but I think he'll be a serviceable player. And I feel bad for Junior Tuihalamaka. I wish he was still playing linebacker.
Well, just 1 second here on memory lane. It's like you start looking at the D lineman you played with, Mike. Is Burnham a button sack type of guy who's just going to be physical, play the edge, knock the hell out of you? Campbell and Anya are twins. You're right there. Cross and Derek Landry are just animals inside. Can Traore grow into a tuck? We all hope he can. And then one of your close good buddies there, can Riley Mills be a Greg Pauly, who was just a beast inside on the run fits? That's what I would hope for this season, is a little mirror images of Mills and Pauly there in 2004.
Yeah, and Pauly, I don't know. Pauly didn't have he's obviously a monster of a kid. But not weight room strong, but the definition of country strong, the definition of just cock strong, country strong. Yeah,
Wisconsin, man. Yeah, those plows in Wisconsin shoveling hay, right? He's probably a city guy now. You're probably going to get a text from him. So,
all right, we're going to move over to the linebackers, but first, let's talk about game time. Look, folks, as much as I love watching my favorite sporting events on my couch, there's nothing like going to the game live, whether it's my favorite soccer, NFL, college football, comedians, whatever the case may be. You want to be there in the room. You want to be there in the stadium. And that's where we're going to talk about GameTime.co, not GameTime.com. So make sure you punch it in correctly. GameTime.co, a fast and easy way to buy tickets for sports, music, comedy, and theater near you, with killer last-minute ticket deals, so you can relax and just get hyped for that fun that you're going to have. Website is super easy to log on, manage. The app is great. Game Time has all these cool features, like Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play, or anything that you need tickets for. It makes it so much easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff, so you get incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Some of the best aspects of Game Time. Also, love the all-in pricing. Toggle this feature, and it'll show the total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout. You can check out seat views to get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. You'll get the lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Folks, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, make sure you use the promo code ON3, ON3, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, folks, create an account, redeem the code ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Well done, brother. Well done.
Thank you, brother. Tim, linebackers, what you got?
B, you lose 2 NFL guys. Kaiser has to play inside, where I've seen him get eaten up alive many times. That's really curious to see how he's going to play 60-ish snaps there as a true Mike Will, whether it's nickel dime, constantly in those B gaps, so to speak. Really excited to see that. It'd be higher if I want KVA out there. He's bigger, faster, stronger than Bowen. So I'm really curious to see how that thing breaks down. And then the depth, they keep hearing they're going to play 5. that's going to be interesting because they're a 2 linebacker defense. Snead obviously is that hybrid freakazoid athlete, talking same as we were talking about Eli Raritan and some of those other guys. Like, you got to get him on the field to making a play. So Snead's going to play a lot because they love playing 5-6 DBs nonstop and doing all these little packages. So really excited to see that. But I have a B just because they lost so damn much. And these are some young guys. So I'm really curious to see how they do. And knock on wood, this is going to be a higher grade in the end.
Tim and I see eye to eye on many things. Tim, you'd agree almost most things. We were somewhat in agreement. We do not agree on Marist, because you're breaking down the film and you're like, oh no, Golden's got him. No, Golden's got him looking at the soda pop vendor in the stand. That's what Golden's teaching him to do. So I don't see it. So you do lose 2 NFL guys, and I'm going to miss talking about Marist, but it's just like, I don't have a bad thing to say about J.D. Bertrand. I really don't. The only thing God gave him a little bit of short arms, so he missed some tackles where people stepped out of him. I'm giving that group an A.
Woo! Whoa! Look at that, man.
Hear me out. Hear me out, you assholes. Hear me out.
I like it.
Go back to your criteria: NFL and/or playoff.
Who's the NFL guys now? That's what I want to hear.
Oh, in this room?
So is Kaiser and Drake Bowen are 2 NFL?
I would say all of them. I would say all of them, with the exception of Drake Bowen.
Okay. I have a hard time seeing Kaiser in year 6, who's never been a guy, being a draft. It's hard to get NFL drafted now. Let's think of that. So it's hard. You know
what's interesting? What's because this is my position, so just grant me a minute to go over this.
I got you.
I've always thought in the same progression, Kaiser's tranquil.
He was a safety, just kept moving around his athleticism.
That's what I'm saying. And now he's a Super Bowl champ, and he's
Tranquil was crazy in 17 and 18 at inside.
Give Jack a chance. He didn't look comfortable playing in. You gotta root for Kaiser. He's been incredibly productive. He's always made plays. He does have to get. That's what I'll be curious is how does he move amongst the trees and bang on the inside. But as far as shit, Tim, you've been watching Golden Scheme. He sends them half the time anyway, so you don't even have to read the stuff out. It's true. You don't have to read it out. So it's like, or maybe that was just a Marist thing because he couldn't read it. So you just blindly send them. But I think Bowen's a really good player. But Bowen to me, and this is going to elicit a laugh out of Singer, but Bowen to me is like the kid in 6th grade that had hairy legs. You know what I'm saying? Where he's like, there's stuff that you watch Bowen's high school film, and it's like some of that's Indiana high school football, but like you're not pulling that off at the college level. And then I also think Bowen's got some intangible leadership, does all the right things. He's a hard guy for those coaches to like let get passed up, or he's a difficult guy for a coach to sit down just because of all the intrinsic stuff. Bowen's a really good player. KVA is a special player. And it's like you look at the depth chart and they've got KVA listed at Mike and Will. And Osbury's a guy I think they slid him over to nickel during spring just to keep him interested, keep him engaged. I think Osbury in modern day football could be one hell of a Will. And you say, okay, he's so small. Thinking about this today. Like the linebackers that I'll train, what's Pendleton? 310, right? So even if I'm a 250-pound linebacker throwback, I don't want to bang with a 310-pound guy that's moving at me at 10, 12, 15 miles an hour. So like you try to teach kids to reduce and slip blocks. And when the way you watch Osbury run on film, he's like a water bug. I just don't see how you can kind of touch him in the run game with his, he's shorter, but he's a slippery kid. He's a hell of a football player. And then Snead, I think he's got some leadership kind of in him just because he has so much juice. It's not conventional Notre Dame leadership, but Snead's gonna get his hands on some passes and create a lot of havoc. So I think 4 of those 5 guys are NFL guys, and then athletically, it's a playoff linebacker group, undoubtedly. Sorry, that's why I what I say, A?
Hey, B plus. Solid group. For me, it's like a B until you get to KVA, and I want to make it an A just from Kingston. I was told by a good source that Kingston might be already the best player on that defense. Think about it. Like Kingston, even if that's like half true right now, the kid's a freak. I've never seen anything like Kingston in like at the All-American Bowl. They're working on red zone. They were, between the ball was placed somewhere between the 50 and the 20. I'm standing in the end zone watching Kingston. I'm filming him, and I see him just read the play as if he knew exactly what it was before it was snapped. I've never seen that at that level. Kid's a freak, and he is already. What's he listed at, guys?
240, 6'3", 240.
I'm like 6'3", 240, and he still moves really. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna take B plus with very much a potential of like an A up to Goolsby for me if it trends to Kingston playing, just as much as Kaiser as a backer. So huge Kingston fan.
Better athlete than Manti. Better athlete than Manti. Tim, you know it. You don't think so? You don't think so? In terms of the fluidity and his ability to drop, it's a different era.
As true freshman. Manti was it? Manti is legendary as a high school football player.
We're talking like testing numbers and such. Yeah, I'm not taking.
As a freshman, he started by game. I want to say Purdue, game 4. Someone could Google that, look that up for me. In 2009, I believe it's Purdue. So he came in, started, never left the field for the next 3 3/4 years. So we'll see if KVA does that. I'm hoping he does. I think he's better than some of these guys.
I want
Manti and KVA. Yeah, I mean those.
I remember I was at a game. I was on the sidelines years ago when Manti was playing, and might have had like 22-inch arms, just thick, dude. I was like, look, and he was a freshman. But just built differently, different era, barrel chest. KVA is longer. I don't know what it is, but I wasn't really familiar with KVA. I don't follow recruiting to the extent that I ought to. But I remember, Singer, when you and I did a show, covering his commitment or whatever was the case, and I just watched his film like 2, 3, 4 times. I'm like, yep, he's your next starter at Mike. It's just there's just something about that position. They're like my junior year, Tim, my senior year when I was hurt, right? I redshirted. And by the end of the year, I'm playing scout team linebacker. And I'd seen our offense enough times where I was just like, to your point, Singer, like, you weren't even thinking about just flowing to the ball and like you couldn't block me because I knew what they were running because I'd seen it. And KVA just whatever that thing is as a linebacker, he has it. I do, similar to Anthony Knapp, I'm not worried about it, but like he has to like be given extra care in terms of the training room and all this because like he plays violently and he plays all out, and you are a true freshman, and it is a long season, so you kind of got to maybe at times protect himself from himself, if that makes any sense.
4-year starter at St. John Bosco. That tells you the type of player he is.
Stud.
Yeah.
Quick super chats. John says, great show, guys. What's Notre Dame's record with this offense? Triple option, wishbone. Buckner's quarterback. Keedron's the fullback. Love and Price at running back. We pass it 10 times a game. Guys, quick thoughts.
We're running the 19. Yeah, we're basically the Houston Veer. We're getting ready to play Notre Dame in the Cotton Bowl, it looks like. So you're going to be the Houston Cougars in the 70s with Coach Yeoman. Dude, that's pretty damn good right there. You could, with this team firing off, Veer blocking, just cutting, reading the end. It's 11-1 football team.
Goolsby perked up when he heard Buckner's at quarterback.
11-1. Buckner, Leonard rotating. I'll even go a little Steve Spurrier when he rotated quarterbacks every play. Rotate him in, running the option. It's 11-1 football team running the wishbone.
With this defense, sure.
Alex, $2. He says, do you guys think Knapp and Pendleton would start if Kelly's here?
Sure, he played freshman. Yeah, he started. Robert Hainsey, Steve Elmer started. Obviously, Blake Fisher started. Sure, Tommy Kramer was a redshirt freshman who started. Lots of redshirt freshmen started for him over the years. Oh yeah. If they're, once again, they're the best guys. As I said earlier, Alex, his first year at LSU, he started freshman on the offensive line. They went on to win the SEC West and lose to Georgia in the SEC title game. So play the best guys.
What are we moving on to next? DBs? Are we separating these out into corners and safeties or what?
Separating corner safeties. Got a couple more super chats. JVit, very generous $20 super chat. Love the show. Love the grades. You gents broke me into this Notre Dame social media fandom for better or for worse. What position group sides of line needs to show up in order for us to beat A&M? What do you guys think?
One position. We've been talking about it forever. One position. The athlete at quarterback. The athlete at quarterback. That's my take.
JVit, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for the very generous super chat. And Adam with the 50
Real
ball.
Quick. Yeah. Are you putting this, Tim, you're putting this game on Riley Leonard's shoulders?
Hell yeah.
All right. I love it.
He's a senior quarterback. He's making a couple bucks. He's got an offensive coordinator who's been around a lot of athletic quarterbacks, his Notre Dame days. Desmond Ridder at Cincy. Obviously, the 2 years with Daniels. Hell yeah. A quarterback, offensive coordinator. Between them, Mike, $4 million, right? Go earn your cash, gentlemen.
3.2, but yeah.
Maybe a little bit more now that, I'm sure one of them is making some side deals now. So, I round up, I guess.
I've yet to see the Dove skincare ad for Riley, but maybe they're still editing it. I'm going to go because the way I see it, clearly Riley's going to have to shuck and jive, going to have to make some moves on somebody, please. Tobias Merriweather isn't here anymore. Like, I know the ball's supposed to be here. So if it's here, you can still catch it, guys. So that's where I'm at. Break off your route, scramble drill. And then I'm just telling you, quick passing game, you're talking about, a Jordan Faison, whatever is the case. It's the first game. Pucker factor times 1,000. Break tackles. Wide receiver, Jaden Thomas, don't go down, depending on what type of scheme Alco plays. But it's like, I'm going into that game thinking like I am a horse. Like, you can't bring me down. So I don't know if we're going to see long conventional pass plays through the air. Been talking about this on Patreon ad nauseum. That quick game that Riley's kind of accustomed to from Duke, somebody break a tackle one-on-one. First game, you saw with the Florida State-Georgia tackle. It takes a while for teams to get lubed up tackling-wise, Tim, to kind of get in the groove of this, getting out of camp. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm putting it on wide receivers to answer Joe Vittoria's question.
Adam, appreciate the 50 bomb here. It says, join the show late, excited for the season. How is training different now than when Goolsby played? Found it interesting when Freeman mentioned more practices, less injuries, even the bodies look different. Mike, did you hear that comment from Freeman? Curious for your take on that.
Yeah, they got 15% more practice time, one concussion. The big difference is between when I played and now it's a lot easier. It just is. Quick Tim Hyde.
Hold on, just to jump in here, Goolsby. It's like that. How many ISO drills are they doing in an inside run now? They're not running, offset eye, runs power right at your ass. Those days are done. So
people love these stories, Tim. I got two of them because back in the day, and Tim, you're the perfect guy because you're like such a savant with the personnel and the history and all this. I'm a true freshman. Dude, we're 9 games into the season, scout team, burning a year of eligibility, playing scout team linebacker. Back then with Davey, they had like a full house backfield. Remember the name Jason Murray? He was a 260-pound dude, lead. He was so dense. He was like Shrek with a football helmet, just dense. And then Tony Fisher, who's 225, had a nice NFL career.
Locked up. Yep.
So they double ISO. So I take that thing on in week 9, goes through like 9 layers of paint. That's when I learned our helmets are orange underneath that gold. So all that paint comes off. But a lot of that like old school football stuff is out of the game for good reason. But that's the biggest difference. And then like another story that I think about is like my first NFL training camp with Parcells, full padded practice. 27 full padded practices in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane. So
NFL doesn't do 27 practices before game one now. I don't think it's nuts.
2 days. Yeah. Whatever the thing was, it was like, and people were complaining during stretch lines and parcels being parcels because they, the older guys would be complaining, "Hey, Bill, man, Bill, my knees or whatever." And he called us up before practice and he's like, "I hear you complaining." And he goes, "I hear you." But he's like, "You got to know this. I don't give a and he dropped an F-bomb. He's like, "I don't care. It's just different. It's just a different game. It's different."
All right, let's go over to the cornerbacks. Tim, what do you think?
A minus if the top two are guys behind. People want to tell the great, best secondary in the country. For me, for this dude, question marks on if Morrison, if something happens. Christian Gray is athletic. He's just athletic as can be. I remember when Singer and I did his film breakdown when he committed, man, his arms, we talk about length. He just looks like a different guy out there. So is Mickey, I love California, Corona Centennial. I love it. That guy scares me sometimes when he's out there. He's like a little pit bull, going to go crazy and slip up, give up something big. But maybe that's just me remembering him as a freshman. And then who's behind Mickey? Is it Hobbs, Moore? Is it really going to be a freshman? So unless one of those guys is this year's Morrison or last year's Gray, who obviously played a bunch. So I'll say A minus.
Goals?
A+. A+.
He's so promoted this year. This is like crazy.
Okay, A+. You're talking
thinking,
like top 5 in the country, right? Like A+ is
as good as Benjamin Morrison is. Can Christian Gray not be better? Yeah.
Oh yes, sure.
And Cam Hart was an NFL guy. I was never as high on Cam. Cam was never like that twitchy of a guy to me. I told you, Tim, he's like a Pete Carroll corner, just kind of a big, long, kind of physical. I could just cover 3 corner. But no. And then the guys behind him, and we love to talk about the rotation, and Mickey's a feel-good story and everything. Mickey doesn't need to play, especially in a game like this. With Golden scheme and these athletic linebackers, and if you got 2 guys that you can put on an island, which I believe you can, nobody threw at Morrison last year. So you're going to try to throw it Gray? I'm just telling you, A+. I think it's you said, Tim, the D line was like the strength of the team. I think the secondary, and I'm obviously including corners into that, best unit on the team, which is, I'm like pinching myself. This is Notre Dame, right? Like we've got these studs in the secondary, but yeah, I say A+. Mike Mickens, pay that man.
Christian Gray, going into his junior year of high school, ran a 4.4, multiple 4.4s at Ohio State, and got his offer from the Buckeyes. Yeah, freak show.
Oh yeah.
I'm going A-. Ben Morrison, first round pick. Christian Gray, future first round pick. Mickey's solid player. Moore and Hobbs can be serviceable. I'm going A-.
Fellas, serviceable.
Jordan Clark.
Who's serviceable?
I forgot
Jordan
about
Clark,
the
nickel. Good.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see on Clark. Maybe it's just me watching Arizona State and like, we'll see. We'll see. It
We
could be
agree
his
again.
dad too. His dad is just, he's the hype on his son through his dad is overkill. So we'll see.
And Tim needs a tinfoil hat because he thinks, the whole Freeman, Ryan Clark
going
thing.
on the Clark thing. Yeah.
Yeah, there might be some validity. Now, I want to put a caveat asterisk with my A+ grade. I did not factor in the nickel position.
Oh, there we
You wanna
go.
change
But
it?
I do think I told you I thought they brought Hurd in to kind of supplement Clark because I don't know if Clark's going to hold up all year. But maybe you can do more with Snead this year. Golden's going to have a wrinkle, Tim.
I just don't want a linebacker playing over a slot. That's just me. So I know we always talk about Osbury, Snead. No, if we see that, I don't know. That scares me.
Not too many JOKs out there. Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, Snead's I think Snead physically can do it. I go back to some of those clips we talked about many times, Singer, in terms of his high school film. Osbury, that's criminal to try to put him out there. But I wanted to make this note about the corners. If we look at our original criteria, NFL playoff, are Gray and Morrison starting at LSU, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Oregon, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Playoff teams?
Yeah.
Not at LSU, their defense. But no. Notre Dame's 2 starting corners are legit.
Yeah.
I gave him an A- because I get a little leery if one of those other guys has to come in. That's just me.
That's fair.
Yeah. Okay, so Mike, are you changing it to an A? Because I would definitely include Nichols with the corners.
I'm not including Nichols because it's my show. A+ corners.
All right, so you putting Nichols with the safety?
Nickel, I'll say.
So yeah, Nickel gets its own position.
I think Nichols and corners are all the same to me.
I don't. Because I forgot, for the sake of the argument. I'm saying Nichols a B. Nichols a B. Nichols a B.
That's an unofficial. I am tracking these over on my other monitor, and that is an unofficial grade. All right, safeties. Tim, what you got? Wait, Tim, last year, did we combine the 2 corners and safeties, or
no?
We did it separate?
Yeah, we had them separate. At
least,
okay,
so what do you got?
From last year. This once again, this is Tim Hyde being scared. It's an A because you have a unanimous All-America. I have no idea about the other safeties.
Yeah.
Literally the next 5 safeties, flip a coin, cover my eyes. I have no idea. So I went B+ just because of Xavier Watts alone grade. And then after that, I really don't know. I know Adon Shuler is going to play. He's going to start. Hurd's a 5th-year senior with 2,300 snaps at Northwestern, and he's gotten beat out by Shuler. We talked a ton about him in the spring. So, but then it's Talich, Urlacher, Ben Minnick, Xavier Watts. Please play all season long. That's just my take. That's why I'm going B+. It's stud. No idea behind that. So that's why I keep hearing D. When I hear DB's the best unit on the field, I'm like, there's another safety. I don't think people always seem to forget about that. And nickel, we'll see with Jordan Clark, obviously. So the other safety it just worries me.
Tim, what was your grade last year for the corners, DB, safeties, what have you?
Safety last year was a little lower because of our friend DJ Brown. I did B. And corner, I had A- last year because of Cam Hart, Morrison. In the third, we always expected to be Gray, Mickey. We figured Gray was going to move up with his athleticism. So that was me.
So last year was a B with DJ Brown. This year, you're a B+ with the insertion of a Shuler, Rod Hurd, whomever.
I'm not saying, it was Brown, Ramon Henderson. Remember, they were going into their 3rd year, 1 year with Freeman, year 2 with Golden. So Ramon Henderson and DJ Brown played 1 million snaps. So the experience factor alone,
Ramon Henderson got worse, I think, during his time at Notre Dame.
True, he played, but who's the Ramon Henderson on this team? We haven't seen Luke Talich play. Every time I see Ben Minnick, the dude's getting torched every time they put out a 1-minute video. You always see number 13 up there. The poor kid's always on the film. I'm like, can you find another DB film, please? And so that's just me. Xavier Watts, Goolsby, you and I have been talking about him for 3 years. So excited when he finally got on the field. And 2022, we used to scream together, like, play him. And they finally did, and he's an All-American. So after that that's my question mark.
After that, hang on.
Here's the tinfoil hat. Here it comes. And there it is.
That, I'm telling you, stop doing that, Singer. After that, I'm telling you, I still see that 3-3-5 because like a Kendi Urlacher, a Talik, Benny Powell, like a lot of these like tweener types, I just don't see him as true safety. So I'm still gonna. And Max Bull, I asked him, I was like, "Can you ever see that?" He's like, "We got the personnel for it, but are we gonna do it?" No. But I'm giving the group a B+. I'm giving the group a B+. I don't think you could be much. I love you, DJ Brown. I don't think you could be much worse in terms of like the way that the scheme's set up. And you know this, Tim. You have to come down in a race. It's an open field tackle one of the most difficult things in football to do. But it's like whether it was Ramon Henderson, you've seen it enough times. Like he can't do it. He can't do it. Stop asking him to do it. And DJ Brown's a limited. What did DJ Brown run a 40 in, Tim? Like 4.8 or something like that at the pro day. Remember that? Remember we talked about that?
Yeah, not
so. If you give him a B last year, I'll give him a B plus this year. And there's just something about the way Adon Schuler carries himself. I think his kind of demeanor sort of mirrors Xavier Watts. Like they're about that action. And I'm really excited. But yeah, the depth is concerning just because the body types back there, I don't think they're like natural safety fits. And yeah, I agree. Talek shows like a lot of tightness in coverage.
B plus here as well. I'm on the same wavelength with you guys. Adon Schuler, just a freak. Just first guy off the bus.
Not as big in person, Mike, as you think.
Really?
You know, that rolled up jersey. I rode up on the elevator with him. Not as big as in person as you'd think.
I don't know, man. The pictures
little Jerome Sapp
pretty well.
Is he as big as Jerome?
Jerome was much thicker.
Yeah, he was.
Again, different era. Totally different era.
Here's
safety. Yep.
Here's one of the Singer surprises. Put that on a t-shirt. Kennedy Urlacher. This season, the lowest ranked prospect in the class. Potential redshirt burn for Kennedy Urlacher. So
Urlacher redshirt burn because of my predictions of playing freshman. But if he plays, he will be the biggest stunner. Because number one, we never saw him cover anybody in his high school film. He was just knocking the hell out of people in the flats.
You never saw him backpedal.
Never. It was the same thing with Ben Minnick. When I watched Ben Minnick, yeah, he's great running downhill in the alley. Never saw him backpedal. So if Urlacher is as good as you keep saying, Singer, and you're loving it, I mean, you're hyping him up more than Bellamy back in the days when he was at safety. So I feel like
that's a dig. That's a dig.
Singer knows. I'm always on him with Bellamy. I'm always. He loves those Bergen Catholic guys. So, but that would be that would be a huge surprise with Kenny Urlacher for me.
Dude, this season, I'm told, keep an eye on him.
There's two guys, fellas, on that team that come to mind, and maybe I'll forget somebody. Like that can just like people are gonna joke, but like to like blap somebody like that last 3 to 4 inches before contact, they could just that little shiver thing. Some people have it. I didn't. Just that innate ability to just like concuss somebody. Urlacher has it. So if you saw Urlacher come down on a kickoff and just jar a ball loose, and Snead can do it.
I was about ready to say, I think Snead, just his acceleration so quick.
We used to call it blap, and like, you got blapped. Like, it's just that, it's that last little bit of contact right before, like Glenn Earl could do it back in the day. It's just some people can do it. So I could see, and just because we didn't see Kenny Urlacher backpedal on film doesn't mean he can't do it, to be fair.
So I'm excited. That would be a huge upset, basically, if you want to call it that, a shocker on for this season. So that would be nice.
Can I make another real quick note? I got his father's number through back channels, and he was my idol, Tim, right? Brian Urlacher, like when I was playing. Absolutely. I cannot bring myself to text him because I'm like, it's like they say, don't meet your idols. I can't do it. Now Tim Singer's texting it to me.
No, I'm looking if I have it. I know.
Hey.
I got it through a buddy in Chicago. It's like I literally can't reach myself out to try to get him.
Linebacker. Come on. Linebacker.
I'm texting with him. He was awesome. I interviewed him.
He is awesome.
I interviewed him. He was good.
Urlacher. No, Goolsby. Damn it. Get a Brian Urlacher in that in your little Hall of Fame behind you back there. And speaking of that,
I had a
why doesn't Mike Goolsby have Singer? You need to do this. I saw Horka just popped up. You guys need to get Goolsby. He was on the cover, I think, Northwestern game for a Blue and Gold Illustrated. I need to see that in the back.
I don't think
I'm sure you have.
All right, I have it. No, I haven't. I think I've even texted it to Goolsby, but yeah, you guys need to order that for him. Cover. It's his only cover of Blue and Gold Illustrated. He's on a cover.
Well, that's a damn shame.
All right. He got one cover. Joe Alt got one cover, so there you go.
Oh man, Steve's
me and Joe
on one. No, Steve, I got Steve on one. Tried to get him on the Football Preview magazine cover, but All right. So for those keeping track at home, quarterbacks.
Oh, I love this.
Hyde A-, Goolsby B, Singer A-.
Look at that graphic, by the way.
I know this is a big time program up here, and I starred this too in my Google Docs just in case if anyone wanted to change this, because we will look back at these after the season. Running backs, again, guys, if you need to change it, now's your time. Hyde A-, Goolsby B+, Singer B+. Wide receivers, Hyde C+, Goolsby C. Eternal Optimist B-.
I'm going to go B-. Faison, Greathouse, make that a B- group.
Really?
I think Greathouse. I don't know. I'm a Greathouse guy. Outside, I have no idea. I do like Greathouse. I think he's.
Yeah. Did you not remember us arguing Greathouse versus Faison, and you were a Faison guy?
At the slot. That's if the slot. They got Faison outside now, which I absolutely love because I like just little quick guys out there getting the ball, like TJ Jones back in the early killer years, getting him the ball, letting him run around out there. So I'll go B-. I don't know why I'm going to pay for this.
Okay.
I think Tim. All right, moving on. You like Faison to the field for the bubble stuff, for the short game stuff. But then again, isn't a field receiver supposed to kind of take a top off? Like, isn't that
true? But now, to the field, you get more off corner, more read corners. So you could do the quick dumps, the quick throws out there, short motions, those types of things, with the outside receiver. Every time I watch a highlight of Jordan Faison,
he's special.
Not like a golden Tate. It's like
I'm taking credit for the Tate comparison. They move again that bow-legged. They move the level of
bingo.
compete.
I got bingo. Goolsby said bow-legged. I got.
Telling you, it's a thing.
Hold on, Mark with glasses had one thing I was supposed to say. I didn't see it. So.
Shit, I can't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't know how you guys. I can't read the comments and do the show at the same time.
Yeah, it started with a P. Hodgepodge.
Okay. I'll throw that in.
Sorry, Goolsby, I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. I think they got Faison out there because he's a good soldier and he'll do whatever the coaches need him, and he physically can do a lot of things. By the end of the year, I think a KK Smith's gonna have a legit role.
I love that. To me, Faison's more of a natural slot, and Harrison can kind of.
You can't have three slots play.
Yeah, but Harrison kind of is a gadget guy, comes in, does something here and there, but I don't think he's going to be a high snap guy. I think that what Goolsby's saying, I'm all for that. I like that a lot.
And when they go 12 personnel, which with Evans, Reardon, or even Flanagan, you could have a quick cat out there like a Faison. So that's what I'm looking for.
Tight ends, Hyde A-, Goolsby A, Singer A-. Offensive line, Hyde B-, Goolsby B, Singer C+. D-line, Hyde A, Goolsby B+, Singer A. Linebackers, Hyde B, Goolsby A, Singer B+. Cornerbacks, Hyde A-, Goolsby A+, Singer A-. Safeties, B+ across the board. Did I track that right? You all said B+? Okay.
Yeah.
And then I did throw it in the title of the show, Mike. You tweeted this, what is that, Saturday, Friday?
Sure.
28-10 Notre Dame.
28-10? I haven't seen that tweet. You're picking an 18-point. You're picking a team that's three-point underdog to flip the script. Ooh, I like that.
I don't see maybe if I backed it down to 24-10, but I think we win. I mean, bet the money line if you're gonna bet. If you're gonna bet it, bet the money line.
What's the over/under? Because I've been saying the first 20 is gonna win. What is it?
46.5.
Oh wow. Okay.
I just don't know how they score.
Talking about A&M.
A&M, and you read some of the reports, they've got their own offensive line issues. The interior of their defensive line is kind of wonky. They've got issues at corner. Like I mentioned earlier, like a Jaden Harrison. I'm almost like convinced, like you could hook me up to a lie detector test. The big thing for me, and like you'll almost know it from the get-go, is like what kind of talked about this on Patreon a lot. Like as the ex-player, it's played in some of these big games. and I'm even starting to do it, whether it's talking shit on Twitter, like starting to build like a little bit of like anger towards like for the opponent. It's like, how do they hit that field? What kind of energy do they hit that field with? And I think you pluck out some of these, you pluck out a few of these like older guys that were maybe a little bit more stoic, a little bit more rigid, and you infuse like a KVA, a Snead, you know, a Schuler, you're going to have a different level of juice. And I just don't see how they score on offense, like kick returner, big play, turnover, score points on defense. I feel really good about it. I really like legitimately do. I don't know how they score.
Oh,
their running backs hurt. Their stud running backs hurt. Give me a break.
Yeah, I mean, they were going to have a rotation of 3. They got 2 others. They got a couple of wide receivers. They're big. He's the Big 12 personnel. So we may get 3 linebackers on the field. He's a 12 personnel. That's why Freeman, tried hiring him 2 years ago, the Colin Klein, the K-State OC. That's what Freeman wants to do, is hammer the rock and stuff like that. They're going to pound the rock right at Notre Dame. So my little side prediction on defense, if I'm Elko and them, I'm just be like, I'm praying press man and beat us, Riley Leonard. I'm going to press the living crap out of every single one of you guys. Beat me up top. You're not going to run around. You're not going to go for, 108 yards and play man and on offense, man. Just hammer the damn ball. We've been talking about was Notre Dame. In some of their games, they gave up big chunks and got beat up front. And now you lost 2 NFL linebackers. Can Kaiser go in there and plug on some of those inside fits and stuff like that? They're going to go 12 personnel, hammer the ball. Notre Dame's going to play on an island, as we've been talking about, and they are going to take big, deep shots.
So when you hear press man, Tim, does that press man in terms of A&M Elko's approach, are they going to try to heat Leonard up, or are they going to play soft coverage underneath?
They don't need to. I wouldn't heat them up. I would just be like, I'm going to just man the hell out of you guys. Our front 4 is going to just cause havoc.
You got to spy
them, right? Get after your ass. Yeah. Leonard, you're not going to run, and we'll play man however
it's easy. I mean, it's easy. Again, like when I envision a Riley Leonard taking off and running, it's in my brain, not saying I'm right. I don't do this. I'm not going to do the digging, but it's like, it's off and to the right. And I don't know. It's easy schematically to pull that game that we played in Japan. The last football game we played in, it's like they'd have me pull up the quarterback. It's easy to do schematically to pull somebody up as they roll out. But it comes back to me, wide receivers making a play on a contested ball via the air jump ball type thing, an uncomfortable catch, and or making some plays in a quick passing game, stepping out of a tackle. A lot of yak.
Mike Nolan, super chat. This is the last thing, and then we're going to sign off tonight. He says, any concern, guys, on the stat that Notre Dame is 0-8 since 16 in true road games with crowds of 90,000 plus? I'm going to trust you on that, Mike. I haven't seen that myself, but I'm sure Tim is. You
know what? I saw something like this on Twitter. I've had no time to go check the attendance records, but I started just shocked. Obviously Texas, Georgia, Ohio State. Michigan in 19, obviously with that ass kicking. Michigan State, they haven't lost to them. I don't know if Michigan State's 90,000. Who else have they played now? I'm going to go look it up now.
Well, do you have any concern?
Oh, USC. No, but you know what? They beat SC, unless it wasn't 90,000 in 18, but they did lose it 22.
But yeah, do you have concerns, Tim? About the stats?
I have a damn concern. You're going to go play in front. Dude, this place is going to be a freak show. I don't think this is going to be nuts. There's going to be 110,000 people, probably another 100,000 outside tailgating. It is going to be insane. It is going to be so freaking loud. And yeah, Notre Dame's obviously, the old coaching cliche, take the crowd out of it. Yeah, you're only going to take the crowd out of it if you just kick their ass. But unless not, it's going to go long, long, long. I mean, they beat Alabama there a couple years ago in that place. Almost beat Alabama last year. That fourth quarter, they were tied in the fourth quarter with Georgia. Yeah, different team because they got transfers and whatnot. But the atmosphere is going to be crazy. But man, my gut tells I think the Notre Dame players are just going to feed off of this. This is game one. This is a Super Bowl atmosphere is what it's going to be. So and we know Notre Dame guys. They feed off of that too. They like love to take calculus and their 5th year of French and all that crap. But at the end of the day, they're highly competitive football players. I think the Notre Dame players are going to feed off.
So if we're 2-11, ask the ex-player for crying out loud that won one of those games in front of 107,000 people.
Tennessee.
If we're 2-11 over whatever 100,000, I won one of them. Was there?
You made a
I'm
play.
just telling you, Coach Freeman. Like, am I worried about the 2016 thing under Brian Kelly? Sure. Pucker factor, purple face. Don't make a mistake. That's why Ian Book could never like pull the trigger and just let the ball go. So Coach Freeman, build them up, game day, whatever, stay out of the way. It's in the players' hands in terms of like, how are we going to hit this field? And I think you'll be able to see pretty early, and you get the last kind of remnants of Kelly's sort of DNA, save for like a Kaiser, like in these leadership positions, is gone. And then some of these young kids, they don't know any better. And I could just tell you, it's like when you're in those games, like you don't hear the stuff. No. But it is cool. Like when you breathe, the crowd noise comes in and out like as you're breathing. It's very strange. I miss it. But I'm not worried about it just because of the youth on the team, and I just feel like the energy is a little different this year.
Yeah. I mean, this is freaking Notre Dame. I mean, it's like this is what the history books are written and shows are written about it, and books talk about games like this. It's going to be awesome. It is going to be an unbelievable atmosphere. I can't wait. I'm glad game day's there. The place is going to be a zoo. But as much as we're talking about Freeman, Mike Elko's an ass. He could be a little dickish now. He was well known. You go back and read about his stories during the 2017 year. That dude could motivate the hell out of that group. So, I mean, he turned around Notre Dame's defense in an instant after the crap that we had with Van Gorder for 3 years. So it's going to be both sides. Both sides. It's going to be like, Ali Frazier, man. They're going to knock the hell out of each other for 3 hours.
There's another Tim Hyde bingo. Knock the hell out of you. Love it.
All right, I got to get out of here, guys.
18-point. I love it. 18-point win. I'm all about win by one. Get the hell out of there. Let's go out.
I don't know how they score. Let's wrap it up. I got to get out of here.
All right, Goolsby. Appreciate you, Tim. Great show, guys. As always, hit the thumbs up if you have not done so yet. Incredible stuff from Tim and Goolsby tonight. Kickoff sale. Use the promo code KICKOFF24. $50 off your annual subscription, guys. It's $9.49 Eastern time. And just over 2 hours, this deal is going to expire. So kickoff sale, 50% off annual memberships. Promo code KICKOFF24. That's a value of $4.99 per month. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. You got Tyler Horko's in the chat tonight. Jack Sobel. They'll have their show. We got me and Kyle Kelly, 1 p.m. Eastern. 10:30 a.m. 10:30 a.m. Damn, that sucks. 10:30 a.m. I got to be on YouTube. Me and Kyle Kelly talking some Notre Dame recruiting. AM shows. John Kennedy, if you're watching, man, I'm going to be competing against you. Going to be competing against you in that morning slot. But in all seriousness, Friday, Tim and I will give our predictions and our final thoughts, observations in prediction video ahead of the game. So that will be Friday afternoon. We'll post that. And then Saturday after the game, me and Tim will break it down literally within a minute of the clock hitting 000. Tim and I will be live on YouTube. And then Sunday night, me and Goolsby will be right here on the Blue and Gold YouTube channel. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Folks, really appreciate you all for tuning in tonight. Amazing show. Make sure you hit that thumbs up if you haven't. And as always, we will catch you next time.